Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another down day with AMC Stock and another day where Ortex is estimating the short interest has actually fallen. And this time they estimate that it has fallen quite a lot. And it's complete bullshit, guys. We're going to get into everything you need to know here in this video. Go over the Ortex data, technical analysis, the major data coming tomorrow, and how AMC is likely to react from all of it. So hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And without any further ado, let's dive straight into it, guys. So first things first, AMC down about 2.20% here today. You are seeing TLT going up a little bit today, and that in theory should be a good thing for 2022. And what I mean by that is the correlation. Usually if bonds are up, stocks are up. Over the last couple of days though, bonds have been going up and stocks have actually been falling, and that is a worrisome sign. But today that correlation is back pretty well matched up. The S&P 500 up about 0.62%, and TLT measuring the 20-year treasury is up 0.30% today. But you do have a lot of risk on stocks that are selling off. This is ahead of the Fed meeting because, guys, tomorrow we get a summary of economic projections report from the Fed that comes out at 2 p.m. We have not gotten one of these since September. And what has happened since September? Inflation has started to come down. It even looks like you might be able to spot a peak for inflation. Economic data has gotten a lot worse, and a lot more major banks are cutting earnings expectations. Not only that, but they are forecasting a recession for 2023 and big drops in the stock market for 2023. So when we get the summary of economic projections, it's going to be like a dot plot, and Fed members, they're going to plot where they think interest rates are going to go, by what time, and when they're going to start cutting rates will be reflected in that. And right now the markets are firmly pricing in 5 to 5.25% for the end rate, the terminal rate for the Fed, in which they stop raising rates. And then the markets are expecting some pretty big rate cuts by the end of the year, around that July time frame, July through the end of 2023. Markets are expecting rate cuts. If the SEP report summary of economic projections shows that the Fed is not going to be cutting rates in 2023, nobody's even thinking about it, that would be a very negative thing. The odds of a hard landing would definitely go up, and I think the markets would react very negatively. AMC stock would not be immune to that, and it would likely fall as well. On the other hand, if you get the terminal rate that is signaled to go higher than 5% or 5.25%, that would also be very bearish. And that comes on Wednesday. That's the Fed meeting. Tomorrow, you are going to get the CPI report. So I think I maybe said the Fed was tomorrow. Fed is on Wednesday. CPI report is tomorrow. But the CPI report is going to be a very big deal, as it always is, but we're getting it right before the Fed meeting. So you get the core inflation rate year over year for November coming out at 8:30 in the morning. We are expecting 6.2%. Last reading was 6.3% for last month, and a lot of things have actually rolled over big, like oil is going to be deflationary on the month over month and the year over year reading for CPI. So that's a very big deal. You also are going to see a couple other sectors like used cars as a deflationary factor on this CPI report. So, you know, depending how this comes out, it's really going to set the tone for how we trade tomorrow and how markets are, you know, going to look at the Fed meeting. If inflation comes in hotter than expected, there's not going to be a lot you can do to protect the portfolio. It's going to be pretty red in the markets. Now, as far as AMC stock, there's nothing company specific that is coming out today. The stock is just down about 2.30% because of the CPI coming tomorrow and because of the Fed on Wednesday. It looks to be just one of those risk off kind of days for certain sectors of the markets, and today it's definitely affecting AMC. As far as the Ortex data, a live short interest of free flow estimated reading for today is at 17.9%. This is sharply lower than where we were just seeing the numbers on last Friday. This is after the official report came out on well, it was released on December 9th. The settlement date was for November 30th, and it was at 19.5% with 100 million shares sold short. And if we go ahead and look at November 30th and, you know, what has happened since then, we went up a little bit, right? You went up this 13% day, and then it's been just down ever since then. So even if the short interest was only at 19.5%, say 0.5% covered here on this day, you're still at 19%, and then you're telling me the short interest went down almost 2% since we started this sell-off. I would beg to differ. I don't even think that is possible, you know, just mathematically speaking, and not be reflected in the price of the stock if that has been happening. So I think that's just another tactic of many the hedge funds are going to use to make it look like the short interest is a lot lower than it is, to get morale down. Because how can you defeat a bunch of angry retail investors? Well, you can get the morale down and you can kill enthusiasm for the stock, and that's exactly what they are trying to do with this new move. Now, cost to borrow average sitting at about 23%, cost to borrow max at about 28.5%, and cost to borrow minimum at 20%. Live cost to borrow readings for today sitting at about 21.5 to about 20%. So there is that 92.32 million shares sold short, down a lot from over that 100 million reading that we were just getting on Friday. So I think a little bit coincidental, all these things are starting to happen at the same time. Interesting flow sentiment for the day is looking like 12 orders totaling $508,500. Positive order value of 44%. You are seeing some longer dated call activity on AMC and some shorter dated put activity on AMC. It is quite mixed though. Positive order value of 44% is pretty neutral overall, and you know, $500,000 worth of options is definitely not a big day for AMC by any means. A quick look at the technical analysis has us in between key levels, like the $5 price to the downside. That's going to be a key level. $6.68 to the upside is another key level. One is support at the $5 level, and resistance is at that 50-day moving average. We've seen it back here. We caught resistance under this 2 days in a row, December 7th and December 8th. So I think after the CPI report, as well as the Fed this week, you're going to make that big move. I don't think that's a question. I think it's really hard to tell if it's going to be positive or negative. The fact that we have sold off so hard into such a big catalyst leads me to be a little bit more bullish, and especially if CPI does come down in a way that, you know, we're kind of expecting it to, I think that could be very, very positive for stocks like AMC, and I think it could send bond yields down quite rapidly as long as investors do not start to fear a recession, and that's the reason why they are pushing bond yields down. Recessions pushing bond yields down, very negative. Inflation going down, causing bond yields to go down, is very positive. I know it's a complete shit show what's going on in the bond market, but that is where we are currently at in 2022. Now, as far as the volume has been very low as well, and really, guys, all the technical indicators that I have pulled up right here, I mean, they're all negative. So keep that in mind. There's not too many positive bullish indicators that are happening besides the double moving average crossover and the triple moving average crossover. So there's that. You guys already know my price predictions from the last video. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the Stocko tracker data for shits and giggles, really, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up this video, guys. So for this Friday, 2,100 calls that are currently in the money, and about 219,000 calls that are out of the money. So if you do see a bullish reaction, if there's a reason for people to buy stocks or even cover on short positions, I think AMC could be very well primed, like a powder keg, to see a big move to the upside. These rumors, they have taken their effect on the stock, but I don't think you could just down and out AMC at a moment like this. There's definitely some shady shit going on, and we'll just have to wait and see for it all to come out, guys. So that is it for this video. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comment section. Most importantly, enjoy the rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.